Okay, well, hello everyone. My name is Djaka Blais and I use she, her pronouns. And I'm the executive director of Hogan's Alley Society. I'm a guest on the unceded and occupied ancestral lands of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, Stolo, and Musqueam nations, known colonially as Vancouver. And I'm excited to talk about Hogan's Alley Land Trust here in Vancouver. So Hogan's Alley Society, our mission is to advance the social, political, economic, and cultural well-being of people of African descent through the delivery of inclusive housing, built spaces, and culturally informed programming and operations. So similar to the previous presenters, I also want to start with some history about the area. So what was Hogan's Alley? Hogan's Alley was the unofficial name for a T-shaped intersection at the southwestern edge of Strathcona neighborhood that formed the nucleus of Vancouver's first concentrated Black community in the early 1900s. At its peak in about the 1940s, Hogan's Alley was home to more than 800 Black community members. There were several reasons the Black community of Vancouver clustered in this area, including the prevalence of affordable housing, proximity to the railroads where many Black men worked as sleeping car porters, and the restriction of racialized people from settling in other parts of the city due to institutionalized racism. Hogan's Alley was a tight-knit community of laborers, entrepreneurs, and families. It included Black cultural institutions such as chicken house restaurants, which were often doubled as speakeasies. The heart of the community was the African Methodist Episcopal Fountain Chapel, the only Black church in Vancouver at the time. And 50 years ago, racist public policies, the urban renewal schemes, and the construction of the Georgia and Dunsmuir viaducts displaced this diverse immigrant enclave and dispersed the Black community. This displacement contributed to the lack of visibility and cohesion for Black community members in the following decades and even today. The Black community has historically been marginalized and disenfranchised by housing developments across the country, leading to intergenerational poverty and lack of opportunities to build wealth through home ownership. The urban renewal, which I mentioned, destroyed Black ownership and intergenerational wealth, and this was actually led by CMHC, who imported it from the United States. And CMHC has admitted to playing a role in the forced resettlement of Black people who lived in Hogan's Alley, as well as in Africville in Nova Scotia. So this history is important because it helps explain our current situation. In 2015, the City of Vancouver began consultations to inform the development of the Northeast False Creek plan based on a decision to remove the Georgia and Dunsmuir viaducts. So this area here that's highlighted in blue is what's referred to as the Northeast Falls Creek. And the Hogan's Alley block is here, or up here in this picture. And this over here, you can see surrounded by the yellow box is kind of a mock-up of potential development for that block. Community groups such as Hogan's Alley Memorial Project, who've been working to raise awareness of the history of the Black community in Hogan's Alley, as well as other community members, challenged the fact that the city wasn't acknowledging the history of this Black community in their planning for the Northeast Falls Creek redevelopment. So the city formed the Hogan's Alley Working Group to consult Black community members and to inform the development of the Northeast Falls Creek plan. Through the advocacy of the working group, the Northeast Falls Creek plan was the first plan in North America to speak explicitly to cultural redress, specifically for Indigenous, Chinese, and Black communities. So here you can see pictures of the Hogan's Alley Working Group charrette process, which really gathered input from community members on what the development should look like. The idea of a community land trust was brought forward by community members, and the Hogan's Alley Land Trust Group began exploring this feasibility of this initiative. What began as the exploration of building an African diaspora cultural center expanded into pushing for a community land trust on the Hogan's Alley block as redress for the displacement of the Black community. The working group pulled together a set of guiding principles which are intended to inform any developments on the block. So these include recognition, an authentic and just course of recognition of the collective contribution of Black Canadian identity, both historical and contemporary. Honoring, so to honor the Black community that lived in Hogan's Alley by celebrating them while nurturing and developing the contributions of our contemporary Black community. Access and inclusion. So this will be a space that creates access by unlocking resources, reshaping markets, and generating equitable opportunities for all people, and provides the necessary stability to build assets in community. Then there's security of tenure and our definition of land use. Really, this is about zoning of this development will provide long-term and self-determined security of land tenure that guards against the possibility of forced displacement and is also mindful of the urban fabric that is integrating with us as to promote this same value. And then finally, investment. This land will be seen as an investment in community. It'll support the Black community in rebuilding the strong social networks that were lost and generationally entrenched, while recognizing that cultural and demographic diversity creates unique needs in our community. So the development on the Hogan's Alley block will deliver a Black cultural center. It'll contribute significantly to the 300 units of housing that are meant to be delivered as part of the Northeast False Creek plan. It'll include social housing and below market rentals, as well as space for small businesses, nonprofits, and childcare. Hogan's Alley Society was formed as an organization in 2017 to move forward with advocacy and negotiations with the city, and really to move forward with the initiative of the Community Land Trust. Over 4 years of negotiations were led by a volunteer board of individuals who demonstrated immense leadership, such as Stephanie Allen, June Francis, and Amina Yassin, among to name a few. And this journey went through many starts and stops, required grit and determination, and the confronting of systemic and overt anti-Black racism. In September 2022, Hogan's Alley Society announced that we had signed a memorandum of understanding with the City of Vancouver, which lays out the parameters to negotiate a long-term lease for the 898 Main Street block, also referred to as Hogan's Alley block. As part of our commitment to honoring the legacy of Black Strathcona residents, we're envisioning a space within the city that highlights the contributions of the former inhabitants of Hogan's Alley and adds to the vibrant multicultural milieu of Vancouver. The development, to move forward with the development, a key part of which being the Black Cultural Center, will be engaging with community in helping us develop the vision to serve the unique needs and desires of people of African descent in Metro Vancouver. So I joined Hogan's Alley Society just in August 2022 as the first executive director for the organization. And we have a volunteer board as well as a growing team of staff. We're currently 4 that are helping to advance various areas of work. So in addition to the Community Land Trust, the Hogan's Alley Society is also advancing 3 other areas of work, including housing, research, and community building. In terms of housing, we're in a tripartite agreement with BC Housing and Atira Property Management to operate Nora Hendricks Place, which is a 52-unit temporary modular social housing development on the Hogan's Alley block. Nora Hendricks Place prioritizes Black and Indigenous folks who are seeking to exit homelessness. And we're currently being mentored by Atira so that our organization can take over operations of Nora Hendricks Place. This is complemented by our community care program, which provides more kind of wraparound, culturally informed supports for the Nora Hendricks Place residents, as well as other community members through cultural support programs, a gardening program, as well as housing supports where we're able to provide emergency. We're able to address emergency housing needs for community members. We're also working on research and advocacy. Our big initiative out right now is our Black Housing Solutions Lab, funded by CMHC, where we are exploring the housing needs of Black community members in Metro Vancouver and developing solutions for those. We currently have a survey out, if you know anyone living in the area, focused on rental housing. And then finally, community building. We really want to be convening Black communities to support community building, leverage our community efforts, and engage in a community vision, partnering with various organizations and individuals so that, and activating the area around Hogan's Alley so that once we have the built development, Black community members are already feeling drawn to the area. So Hogan's Alley was once the heart of the Black community and a hopeful multiracial and multi-ethnic community in the heart of Vancouver. And this project will ensure that it will be once again. We'd love to connect with you, so you can reach out to us through our email or at any of our social channels and sign up for a newsletter on our website. Thank you.